If you're watching this video, you probably already know that the world of golf is up in flames right now. Ever since LIV Golf, a rival to the PGA Tour, was formed, there's been a lot of controversy. The PGA Tour even went as far as to ban players who wanted to play for LIV. Most recently, Tiger Woods critiqued LIV Golf, and they think that the PGA Tour is behind this. Let's look at this and more in this video. First up, what did LIV Golf accuse the PGA Tour of doing? Just a few days ago, Tiger Woods, one of the biggest names in golf and one of the most famous athletes in the world, weighed in on what he thinks about LIV Golf. According to him, players who went to LIV have turned their back on the PGA Tour. LIV Golf thinks that Tiger Woods is being used by the PGA Tour to publicly criticize them. But why would they make such a sweeping statement? Well, this whole feud just became a very big deal after 11 players from LIV have filed antitrust lawsuits against the tour. Now, why would so many players file a lawsuit against the biggest golf tour? Well, LIV Golf is Saudi-backed and has been under the spotlight ever since it was announced. Before the LIV tournaments even had a chance to properly start, the PGA Tour ended up suspending players who joined it. Apparently, suspending players wasn't enough, and the PGA Tour imposed a full-on ban on players who decided to join LIV. This was obviously huge because this had a huge impact on the players. It kind of makes sense why they would file this lawsuit. Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Ian Poulter are just a few of the major stars who have filed this lawsuit against the PGA Tour. These players think that they're being punished for simply joining LIV Golf following their suspension from the PGA Tour. However, some golfers, like Carlos Ortiz, also withdrew their names from the lawsuit. It looks like a few people are pretty scared of what this lawsuit could mean for their career. Next, let's get into some major details of the lawsuit. Of course, there's a lot of things that the lawsuit deals with, but right now we're just looking at what LIV has to say about Tiger Woods being a puppet for the PGA Tour. Well, they didn't exactly use those particular words, but the implication was the same. According to the lawsuit, the PGA Tour got Tiger Woods to do their dirty work and publicly criticize golfers who chose to join LIV. The lawsuit also said that Woods implied that younger golfers who join LIV Golf would never play in bigger leagues and tournaments like the Open or the Masters. Moreover, this whole thing demotivated younger golfers even more because this meant that they wouldn't earn points for the OWGR official World Golf Ranking. That's not all that the lawsuit said though. It looks like they're definitely coming for Woods and the PGA Tour's neck because of the fact that Woods' statement on LIV Golf was putting pressure on players of other majors to join an unlawful group boycott to exclude LIV Golf and punish players who decided to join. So, what did Tiger Woods actually say? It's pretty clear that what Tiger Woods said impacted LIV Golf majorly. We've only covered what LIV has to say, but now let's move on to the whole statement that Woods gave about LIV. Like we said, he's one of the most famous and esteemed athletes to have ever existed. So of course whatever he says carries a lot of weight and gets a ton of publicity. He talked openly about his opinions on LIV for the first time at the 2022 Open Championship in Scotland. This was pretty shocking, considering that just a few days prior to this, Woods had allegedly denied an offer worth $1 billion from Greg Norman, the Aussie golfer spearheading LIV. Norman thinks pretty highly of Woods. The guy calls him a needle mover, which is pretty true. You can imagine his shock when Woods said all that about the LIV. After the Open, when he was asked about the golfers who joined LIV, Woods said plainly after the Open, "I disagree," when he was asked about the golfers who joined LIV. He thinks that they've turned their back on the thing that allowed them to get this far. The implication of this thing is, well, the PGA Tour. He also thinks that it's pretty insane how some players haven't even played a full tour but are now joining LIV. According to him, these amateurs are playing on a pro level and they have no idea what it's like to play a big schedule. He also said that it's extremely possible that some of the players who joined LIV will never get to play any major championships the way that legendary players like Woods play. That's a pretty big thing to say, but it's finally out in the open what the great golfer Tiger Woods thinks of LIV. If you thought that Woods stopped there, you're absolutely wrong, because he went on to talk about the crazy money that players are getting with LIV too. He said simply, "I don't get it, because why are these players going after the money?" According to him, there's no incentive to practice and get better because the money's guaranteed no matter what, and there's no incentive to actually earn the money that they're getting. Woods had a lot more to say. He commented on how LIV is blaring music and it's insane how even the younger players are expected to play only 54 holes. He said that ideally, they should be playing at least 72-hole tests. Woods ended by saying that he just doesn't understand how LIV will be positive in the long term. It looks like he has a pretty strong opinion on the Saudi-backed LIV Golf League, and LIV thinks that the PGA Tour is getting Woods to say all of this. There's a lot of drama in the golfing world if you haven't noticed already. It's almost exhausting to keep up with. Finally, let's move on to some other golf news. First up, let's see how Rickie Fowler is doing in the FedEx Cup. Fowler is the last man standing in the FedEx Cup playoffs right now, and it looks like he's pretty well prepared for whatever the next tournament throws at him. He's still making the most of this whole situation, considering that he has a new putter in his bag and a new caddy. This is the first time that Fowler has a new caddy in years, considering his last one was a childhood friend who had been with him since 2009. His newest one, Ben Shulman, has a pretty great resume too, considering that he worked with Bryson DeChambeau. Overall, things are looking up for Fowler right now. Rickie Fowler was carding a 5 under 65 on the first round of the FedEx Championship, which was being held at the TPC Southwind. Things were going pretty well for him, considering the fact that he ended up tying for 5th. If somehow he manages to stay there for the next 54 holes, he might end up advancing to the second leg of the playoffs, but that's going to be the BMW Championship in Delaware. Next up, Ewan Ferguson sets an amazing course record. The Scottish golfer was playing the ISPS Handa World Invitational at Galgorm Castle Golf Club, where he set a pretty insane course record. Ferguson, with a 9 under 61, opened a 4-shot lead right after the opening round of the tournament. As if this wasn't awesome enough for an opening day, he had an eagle on the 10th and 18th holes as well as 5 birdies. It definitely looks like this was his lucky day. The tournament that Ferguson is playing isn't just an ordinary tournament. It's tri-sanctioned with the LPGA Tour as well as the Ladies Tour. The men and the women are of course playing completely separately and on different courses. The prize funds are the same, $1.5 million each. Let's see what the next few days hold for Ferguson in this exciting tournament. Finally, what direction is Cameron Smith headed in? The young golfer made history just a few days ago after winning the Open Championship, and people are eager to know what's going to be his next career move. He was recently asked if he's going to be joining LIV Golf, to which the Australian replied simply saying he has no comments. People are still placing their bets that he'll join though, considering that Greg Norman, one of his role models, is spearheading LIV. From what we know, he allegedly has a deal worth $100 million to join the LIV Tour right after the PGA Tour season ends. Still, we don't know if this deal is certain or confirmed yet, and we just can't wait. The world of golf is changing rapidly, and the future of sport golf is in the hands of these young players. Even though he hasn't confirmed that he's joining LIV, he hasn't denied it either. He's number 2 in the world right now, and he's also the Players' Champion, so Smith is a pretty valuable player overall. If he left the PGA Tour, his departure is surely going to cause a bit of chaos. Who knows what's going to happen at this point? That's a wrap for this video. Do you think that the PGA Tour is using Tiger Woods to criticize LIV Golf? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.